Hello friends, welcome to Knowledge House. Let's analyze today's The Hindu newspaper. And while analyzing, we will be giving more importance to articles that are important from a competitive exams point of view. So let's move on to the first article. It is titled Albert Fallout, that is government panel to check the cases of mob lynching. So the article says that a high-level committee headed by the Union Home Secretary Rajiv Gauba has been constituted to check the cases of mob lynching. So the report says that the government said a group of ministers headed by Union Home Minister Rajnath Singh will consider the report of the committee and submit its recommendations to the Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The statement reiterated that, as per the constitution, police, public order, and are state subjects, and the state governments are responsible for controlling crime, maintaining law and order, and protecting the life and property of citizens. So the state governments have been advised to implement the directions issued in the matter by the Supreme Court on 17th of July. So that is all about this particular article. Let's move on to the next one. It is regarding the National Register for Citizens, and I strongly recommend all listeners to watch yesterday's analysis of the Hindu newspaper, that is of date 23rd of July. I have analyzed the whole picture in detail. So let's analyze this article right now. So the new rules allow appeals on NRC. That's what this article is all about. So a senior Home Ministry officials has explained that the amendments will be made to the rules in the Foreign Tribunal Order, that is Foreign Tribunal Order of 1964, because under the existing law, only the state or the police are allowed to move towards the foreign tribunal against a person suspected to be illegally staying in Assam. So right now only the state or the police agencies can move towards the foreign tribunal. And the article also says that the Registrar General of India is to publish the final draft of the list on 30th of July to segregate Indian citizens living in Assam from those who had illegally entered the state after 25th of March 1971. So that's all about this particular article. Let's move on to the next one. It is about medical tourism. So what exactly this is, or why India is often one among the prime destinations for medical tourism. So it is a growing sector in India. As of October 2015, medical tourism is estimated to be somewhere around $3 billion, and it is expected to grow much more by 2020. So foreign patients traveling to India seek medical treatment. They are the report says that there is there is high growth in the number of patients who are traveling to India for medical treatment. So the advantages, what draws them towards India is that first thing is cost, and the second one is quality of care, and the third one is the ease of travel, and the fourth is language barriers, because all these are easy to understand, and the language, the point is, English is an official language and is widely spoken by most people, and almost universally by medical professionals. That is one important point to be noted. So this particular article says that Afghanistan and Bangladesh are the continue to be the top countries from where the maximum uh, foreign tourist arrivals for medical purposes were seen. So that's all about this particular article. Let's move on to the next one. It is titled "The Center Clears Air on Grant Giving Powers." So the article says that a new and independent body that comprising of academics and using an ICT, that is Information and Communication Technology, enable platform give grants to universities once the UGC is repealed. That is, UGC is about to be repealed by the Higher Education Commission of India. So there was very much noise on how the grant giving powers of the universities will be done with. That is, once UGC is repealed with that is, once UGC is replaced with this Higher Education Council, how this power is going to be meted out. So right now the concerned ministry, that is HRD ministry, has clarified that a new and independent body comprising of academics and using an ICT enabled platform will give grants to the universities once this particular thing is enabled. And there is one more article that is important from this point of view, that is National Council for Teacher Education, that is NCTE. NCTE Amendment Bill uh, has been uh, has been passed by the concerned house, that is Lok Sabha, to grant retrospective recognition to the central and state universities that are conducting the teachers education courses without NCTE approval. So right now, all institutes or central institutions that are conducting teachers education courses without the NCTE approval can be given NCTA approval from a retrospective basis. That's how the bill has been amended. So let's move on to the next one. It is regarding the Negotiable Instruments Act. So what exactly are negotiable instruments? So it is any signed document that promises a sum of payment to a specified person or the assignee. The payee, who is the person receiving the payment, must be named or otherwise indicated on this particular instrument. A negotiable instrument is transferable, signed document that promises to pay the bearer a sum of money at a future date on demand. So that is what a negotiable instrument means. So anyway, right now this article is about amendment in the FRDI, that is uh, 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 this article is about amendment in the Negotiable Instruments Act. So it says that Lok Sabha on Monday has passed the Negotiable Instruments Bill that allows a court hearing on a check bounce case to direct the drawer, that is a person who wrote the check. A drawer is the person who wrote the check. So the amendment has been made that allows a court hearing on a check bounce case to direct the drawer to pay an interim compensation to the person who filed the complaint. So the interim compensation to be paid within 60 days of the court order can be up to 20% of the check value. That is what this particular article is about. Let's move on to the next one. It is regarding our relationship, that is India's bilateral relationship with the African side. So the our prime minister is in Africa amid a fall in trade. That is what this particular article is about. So the prime minister will have to encounter challenges of Chinese competition as well as the declining Indian trade and investment figures on his three-nation 5-day tour to Africa, part of what is called as an unprecedented engagement with the continent by his government. So the article also says that according to the World Investment Report of for 2018 issued by the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, that is UNCTAD. According to this particular report, Indian FDI in Africa in 2016-17 year was at $14 billion, which was even lower than its 2011-12 figures, which was at $16 billion. So that is all about this particular article. So we have to keep in mind that Chinese investment is going on and we are facing heavy competition from them in our relationship with Africa. So that's all about this particular article. Moving on to the next one. It is about US relationship with Iran. So the US slams Iran's nightmare regime. That's what the article is titled. So the US State Secretary Pompeo has said that we weren't afraid to tackle the regime at its highest level, adding that Washington wants all countries to reduce their imports of Iran oil to as close to zero as possible by November 4, or they will have to face American sanctions. So the European allies maintain their support for the JCPOA, that is Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, which was signed when Barack Obama was in power. So the European allies maintain their support for the deal and have vowed to and have promised to stay in it, though their businesses fear the US penalties. So that is the important thing to be noticed. Usually the US and the Europe used to be on the same line when it comes to the international relations part, but right now they are on different lines, and the Iranian side has responded to this by saying that Mr. Rouhani, who is the highest citizen in Iran, repeated his warning that Iran will shut down the strategic Strait of Hormuz, which is a vital shipping lane for international oil supplies. So let's have a look at what exactly is Strait of Hormuz. It is a strait between the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman. It is between the Persian Gulf and Gulf of Oman, and it is one of the world's most strategically located important choke points. So once this point is choked out, it is really hard to for the oil supplies to reach their destinations. So that's what this particular article is all about. And to be kept in mind is US has asked India also to bring down the oil imports from Iran to reduce to as closely as minimum as possible. But India has later after this warning, India maintained its or India has commented that it will maintain its relationship with Iran. Uh, it will maintain its relationship with Iran just like what it was before. So that is all about this particular article. Let's move on to the next one. It is titled UK backs off from anti-discrimination legislation. So the British government has decided that it will not recognize caste. I repeat, it will not recognize caste as an important aspect of race in its anti-discrimination legislation. This move was this move was condemned by Dalit organizations and various other campaign groups. So that is all about this particular article. Let's move on to the next one. It is regarding the banks agree to resolve the stressed assets quickly. So let's analyze what it is, what the article says. So, and the agreement known as the Intercreditor Agreement, that is ICA, was framed under the aegis of Indian Banks Association uh, and follows the recommendations of Sunil Mehta Committee on Stressed Asset Resolution. So, the Intercreditor Agreement is applicable to all corporate borrowers who have availed the loans for an amount of 50 crore or more under consortium lending from multiple banking arrangements. So that is what is this particular article is about. Anyway, let's look into various aspects of this particular law, that is ICA. So it has been decided that this particular intercreditor agreement, this is an agreement among banks that have dues from a borrower in stress. That is, ICA is an agreement among banks that have dues from a borrower in stress. So the pact mandates that the lead bank, that is the bank with the highest amount of stress under stake, that is highest amount under stake, the pact mandates that the lead bank to formulate a resolution plan that will be executed in a time bound manner. So the applicability is the all corporate loans above 50 crore, and the binding condition is that if 66% or two-thirds of the lenders in terms of aggregate exposure approve then the pact is binding on all lenders. That is, I repeat it once again, if 66% or two-thirds of the lenders in terms of aggregate exposure approves this particular resolution plan, then the pact is binding on all lenders. And how the exit option is, dissenting lenders will have an exit route, that is either selling their exposure at a discount or buying exposure of other lenders at a premium. So who all are in this particular exercise? That is 24 banks including the SBI, Bank of India, Corporation Bank have already signed up, and a majority of lenders are expected to follow the same suit by the end of this week. So some NBFCs, that is non-banking finance companies, have also come on board. So that's all about this particular article. Let's move on to the next one. It is regarding the FRDI bill, that is Financial Resolution and Deposit Insurance Bill. So what exactly this is? So recently a bill was tabled in Parliament back in 2017 that has been making news due to its controversial bail-in clauses. However, there are other provisions that are equally controversial. So the FRDI bill is a part of a larger, more comprehensive approach by the center towards systematic resolution of financial firms. So the need for specific regulation rose following the 2008 financial crisis, which witnessed a large number of high-profile bankruptcies. So the bill's main provisions are: the bill provides for setting up a resolution corporation that is a resolution corporation, to replace the existing deposit insurance and credit guarantee corporation. So as per the bill, the uh, deposit insurance and credit guarantee corporation will be replaced by a resolution corporation, which will be tasked with monitoring the financial firms, anticipating their risk of failures, taking coercive action, that is corrective action, and resolving them in case of failure. So the what were the concerns? So the FRDI bill also empowers the corporation to bail in a company. While bailout is the use of a public funds to inject capital into an ailing company, bail-in involves the use of depositors' funds to achieve those ends. This can be done either by cancelling the bank's liabilities or converting them into other forms. So this particular part was the most controversial, because using the depositors' fund to bail in a company is something really undesirable. So this particular article says that FRDI bill is not officially dropped, but there is intent. So that is all about this particular article. Let's move on to the next one. It is regarding the scrapping of GST on sanitary pads. So on Sunday we discussed this issue. So the article says that scrapping GST on sanitary pads may not aid local makers. So in while the reading we can infer that while imports would benefit from a zero GST on product, domestic manufacturers would suffer a huge disadvantage against imports, as it would result in a complete denial of input tax credit, leading to an increase in the procurement cost. So I'll repeat it once again. While imports could benefit from a zero GST on product, the domestic manufacturers would suffer a huge disadvantage when compared to imports, as it would result in the complete denial of input tax credit, leading to an increase in procurement cost. So in short, a nominal tax is always better than the input tax credit is that is, a nominal tax is always better when input tax credit is higher. That's what the final point is. So let's move on to the next one. It is regarding scientists are now a step closer to creating artificial embryos. So the experts said the results suggested human embryos could be created in a similar way in future. That is, artificially created embryos. That is a step that would allow the scientists to use artificial embryos rather than the real ones to research the very earliest stages on human development. The study will help understanding how the stem cells interact to enable embryo development, and by experimentally altering the biological pathways in one cell type. So there is multiple terms, that is stem cell. We came across stem cell, the particular term called stem cell. So these are biological cells that can differentiate into other types of cells and can divide to produce more or the same type of cell, that is and can divide to produce more of the same type of stem cell. So they are found in multicellular organisms, and in mammals there are two broad types of stem cells, that is embryonic stem cell and inner cell, that is embryonic stem cell and adult cell mass. So these are the two types of stem cells that are found in mammals, and there are various ethical issues also when it comes to the stem cell part, because according to according to the existing laws in various countries, the human development, or what is considered as a basic stage of life, is human embryonic system cell, that is HESC. Research is ethically and politically controversial in many countries because it involves the destruction of human embryos. In the United States, the question of human life begins. Where exactly the human life begins? This has been a highly controversial question in United States. So there is a lot of ethical issue behind stem cell research. So that is all about this particular article. So we have finished analyzing today's the Hindu newspaper, and we have covered all important articles. So thank you very much for watching this video. You can follow us on YouTube. You can also follow us on Telegram. For all kinds of PDFs, you can log on to our blog, that is www.knowledgehouse.co. And if you like this video, please hit the like button and feel free to share it with your friends. And if you feel that, you must not miss any more updates from us, and we'll be uploading many more interesting and important videos soon. And please hit the subscribe button. So thank you very much for watching this video. Have a really nice day.